Welcome to this video, my channel. For any viewers that have decided to click on this link, you've either been directed here from a previous video that you've watched, or you're interested in studying certain things about different layers of reality that we do. So my name is Josefa. If this is the first time that you've connected with me, welcome to my platform, JourneyWithJosefa, where I'm explaining metaphysics, different elements of applicable higher sciences that you can apply to your life. A lot of the previous work I've been doing over the last few years has been mentioning the metaphysical properties of stones. So today my intention is to share with you some practical, while I have some friends in the back. I am in a public place, hopefully you guys can hear me over some of the speaking around me. But essentially, this aspect of this conversation is about sharing with you Moldavite, which has been one of my popular videos. Pause this for a second. A lot of these different aspects of the videos of the last few years. Moldavite, while I'm trying to be recorded, is also going through, is one of the more popular stones. So for all of those that are you now starting to initiate a lot of different things and starting to experiment in different areas, this is what I feel anybody should know when they're starting to play around with some of these other aspects of the world. Okay? So essentially, what I'm going to, the way that I'm going to express this today is through the parable of the hero's journey. It's a very famous story that Joseph Campbell, or an essay that Joseph Campbell had written. And essentially what this is this parable of this myth that everyone, or heroes or heroines, go through just to, as a process of death and rebirth, as you shed the old and begin the new. And if you're interested in working with stones like Moldavite, this is most definitely one of those stones that can help you with that. Now, everything needs to begin with an intention. So the intention of this video, or the intention I'm looking to define, is to give you both the logical, the scientific, and then the applicable ways that you can work with these specific stones for yourself. All right? So what is Moldavite? What are these stones that we're talking about? The Moldavite is what they classify as a Tektites. And here we've got an actual definition. Tektites are naturally occurring let's see if I can say this, holohyaline droplets formed by the melting and ballistic ejection of silica-rich rocks by cosmic impacts. Now, scientifically, it's a comet or an asteroid that had hit Earth. All right, so the first law of thermodynamics is energy is conserved. It is neither created nor destroyed. So just by understanding that whenever there is an impact that affects the world, just because our senses are so dull, we can't apply it to ourselves. That doesn't mean that these things don't resolve or don't resonate certain energies. All right. So in terms of an energetic value, because a stone that was literally created from a meteoric impact, for those people that may not feel that there is something to do with crystals and all these aspects of what, again, the New Age is distorting. So I do want to say quickly that there are layers of actually understanding things, and this whole New Age agenda right now is about distorting certain truths. But in terms of people that don't feel things, and I want to use parentheses because all it is just a layer of you being numb, this is a stone that most people that don't feel different energies and subtle energies do say that they do resonate with. It is very potent. So before you play around with this, again, the intention of this particular video is to give you concepts of what you need to know before playing around with some of these things, because Moldavite does accelerate the journey. So just be aware of that before you move forward. All right, next slide. So again, this is just a picture to depict the stone. Now, there are stories that actually connect Moldavite with the actual Holy Grail known in a lot of the crusade-based stories, right? It was the chalice that provides eternal youth. But in other ways that you can explain the parable of Moldavite, because it does come from certain regions that was extensively mined. So again, guys, common logic, whatever the rich people, the royalty, the aristocrats at the time would spend their resources on, they're things that we should look into, right? So this was something that definitely was very, very, was locked down by a lot of the powers that be in the time that this happened, right? Now, let's actually give you guys a one-on-one rundown of what crystals are in terms of how they work with us. Before I can talk about crystals, we need to understand firstly yourself, right? That's the whole concept of this channel, is me sharing my journey, my own hero's journey, but guiding you on how to figure out your own self. Because nobody's here to tell you what you have to do. All right, so from a biological standpoint, you are 78% water. Water is memory. You can Google this. There have been science laboratories that have literally stored over millions of copies of videos into single droplets of water. Now, if we're water, water through the process of purification turns into blood. Blood obviously has your DNA. You know, the rabbit hole goes deep, but you are water. So when we work with playing with alchemizing water, or actually looking to structure our water, which is what stones do, this is something that can assist you in just actually releasing literal memory that's stored within the body. People don't realize traumas, all those things actually stored in water in your body. Right, so we exist in the third dimension. And what is the third dimension? It's the slowed down matter. So I can look at this laptop in front of me, but if I know what science tells me, these are just atoms and a lot of different electrons that are spinning so quickly, but they appear to be solid, right? So again, third dimensional viewpoint of something, and then there's a deeper level of looking at something, right? So because we know everything is vibration and energy, right? What are tektites? They're very potent forms of energy, right? Now, the next slide will show studies from a doctor by the name of Emoto. He was a Japanese scientist that literally would speak to water, freeze the water, and then actually look at the cellular structure that the water would then hold. Now, I want to, before showing you the pictures so you can actually visualize this, you've all heard the term abracadabra. I speak, therefore I create. Every word comes out of your mouth doesn't mean, like, just because we can't see the vibration, it doesn't mean that it's not actually emanating a frequency. And what is your water? What is your body? It's water, right? So you're programming yourself based on your conversation, the things that you allow yourself to speak forth. So again, that's why there's a lot of negativity, bitchiness, all this kind of stuff. Like, there's no reason for it, because you're literally programming this into your water. And it also comes down to, like, simplicity is key. Albert Einstein said that the measure of intelligence is to keep something complex simple. We waste a lot of time speaking things that don't need to be said. Okay, I'm speaking about myself here, not just necessarily you. When we realize that there's an intention behind everything, that's when we can begin to navigate the journey much more effectively. So I'm going to talk about resonance now. Now, this is going to come through the lens of the personal development guru, Jim Rohn. He said, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, everything is, I'm saying this because I need to share with you the importance of your environment, right? So Bruce Lipton, who wrote The Biology of Belief, has a quote here: if your environment keeps draining your energy, it's like having a leaky bank account, where any money you're putting into the bank, such as seeing an energetic healer, keeps slipping out. You have to change your environment, including any harmful beliefs, before the energy can stay high. All right, so we always used to think that it's firstly there are elements to this, because one thing starts within before they go without, but we do need to understand that our environment does impact us. What stones do on a very mundane level of explanation, they help hold certain frequencies, because it's a third dimensional object that holds a certain frequency. The next slide will actually show you what frequencies look like when it comes to water. Excuse me. But essentially, what you now know is that you're water. Everything is sound and frequency and vibration. Tektites are high vibrational stones. And just by understanding our environment and keeping these things around us in our environment, this can help us control the space around us, as opposed to being controlled by the environment. Right? So there are layers to it. You have to work on both. You can't just meditate and be all love and light and expect like things to happen for you. You do need to push forth that frequency, but you also need to be mindful when you're in a space, you control the energy that's there. You at least control how you operate within it, right? Because you're not being affected by it, you're causing what you want to experience. And at the end of the day, all this is so you can then control the willpower or the wheel. All these words connect, because a lot of people have been programmed to be at the effect. And I don't know about you, but there are sheeps and wolves. I know which side I'd rather be on, right? The controller, the chooser of the experience, or the observer of the experience, but does have the discernment. Now, this next slide is literally what your words, the shape of the words that you may be saying. So if you listen to heavy metal music, this is literally the imprint that it puts into your cells, because this is water, but what are you? 78% water. So apply this to yourself. If you say something bad, or disgusting, like you make me sick, I will kill you. Again, something that's pretty heavy. Look at the frequency that actually emanates from that. Now look at this another layer, like just using the word out of Hitler, because of the energy that person has, the concept, everyone thinking of this particular individual, there's a frequency that resonates with that name. Look at the actual cymatic. This is also called a cymatic that is associated with that name. Now, the bottom three here, which is the most important, is when you actually express loving, grateful statements. Thank you. Look at the actual structure of water when you express gratitude, right? So it's not about being love and light. It's like, look, if you say these things, it's what you're doing to yourself. So why talk about something that doesn't need to be talked about? Because you already know that it's not talking about the problem, it's talking about the solution, right? That then will allow you to restructure the water, which is you, and release the old water, which is the memory, which is, again, talked about blood, the connection of blood. There's now the knowing of epigenetics. So if your grandfather, your grandmother had a trauma and didn't deal with it, because a lot of people don't deal with their own things, you have that now. So now we come into this knowing. It's like, if I have children, they